Choima and Emeka, a young couple in Lagos, eagerly await the birth of their long-desired child. Their happiness turns to heartbreak when Choima delivers a stillborn, shattering their world. As Choima tries to cope, she begins hearing a baby's cries in the night, a sound only she can hear. While cleaning the nursery, she discovers a hidden letter she wrote years ago, revealing a buried secret from her past. Once upon a time in the city of Lagos, there lives a couple named Choima and Emeka. They had been married for 6 years, and during each of those years, they carried the hope of one day welcoming a child into their lives. Living in the busy heart of Lagos, their lives were vibrant but incomplete. Family and friends would often ask, when will they hear the cries of a baby in their home? And each time, Chioma's heart would ache a little more. But finally, one morning, Choima felt the unmistakable wave of nausea, followed by 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test. They were expecting. Choima and Emeka were overjoyed, and so was the entire family and friends. The couple shared their news widely, and Chioma's family began showering her with traditional blessings and gifts as everyone awaited the new addition to the family. With the baby on the way, Emeka worked tirelessly, determined to give his child the best. He decorated a nursery with toys and little animals, and Choima began sewing baby clothes. Every morning, Emeka would talk to her stomach, feeling the kicks and movements, connecting to the little life within. It felt like a fairy tale as the months rolled by with excitement and anticipation. When the time finally came, Emeka rushed Choima to the hospital, their hearts racing with both excitement and nervousness. Hours later, after a difficult labor, Choima delivered their baby only to discover that it had been born still. The room fell silent. The joy that had filled the air dissipated, replaced by a crushing sorrow that no words could ease. The doctors tried to comfort them, but the grief was too much. They returned home to the empty nursery, unable to speak, trapped in a painful silence. Back at home, Emeka and Choima tried to find a way to cope. Friends and family offered condolences, but their words felt hollow. Then, one night, Choima was jolted awake by the faint sound of a baby crying. She sat up, frozen, her heart racing. Emeka was still asleep, unaware of the haunting sound. Night after night, Choima would wake to the same crying, yet no one else seemed to hear it. She began to wonder if it was her mind playing tricks on her. As days turned to weeks, Choima became withdrawn. Emeka noticed her pale face and distant, but couldn't bring himself to speak about the baby. One day, as she was cleaning the nursery, Choima found a letter hidden beneath a baby blanket in the crib. Her hands shook as she opened it. The handwriting was unmistakable hers. She had written the letter long ago to herself, but she had no memory of doing it. In the letter, Choima had written about a time in her life she had kept buried, even from Emeka. Years ago, before meeting him, she'd been in a relationship with a man named James, who had convinced her to abort their child, promising a future together that he never intended to fulfill. James had disappeared, leaving Choima heartbroken and alone, burdened by the weight of that decision. She had never forgiven herself. Choima realized the baby's cries were a manifestation of her unresolved guilt. She told Emeka everything, the shame and pain she had buried deep within. Emeka was stunned but embraced her, promising they'd face this grief together. That night, Choima prayed for forgiveness, asking for peace for the soul she'd lost. Days turned into months, and Choima slowly began to heal. The cries that had once haunted her fell silent, replaced by a newfound inner peace. She and Emeka decided to volunteer at a local orphanage, pouring the love they'd saved for their child into helping others. Through their pain, they found a way to give back, discovering a purpose beyond their loss. 1 year later, Choima and Emeka adopted a little girl named Chika from the orphanage. The day she entered their home, the once empty nursery was filled with laughter, healing their wounds. Choima learned that life is a complex journey of forgiveness and redemption, and though she could never undo the past, she could find peace in a new beginning. 3 years later, Choima finds out she is pregnant again. Happiness multiplied as she gave birth to a child of her own. Moral lesson is about the power of patience, healing, and embracing forgiveness. Choima and Emeka's journey teaches that life may bring unexpected sorrows, but by facing our inner wounds, we can transform grief into growth and find new paths to happiness. Their experience of adopting a child before eventually having one of their own shows that love and family are not defined by blood, but by the heart's capacity to nurture. Faith and the courage to heal can lead to blessings. The end. Subscribe for more stories.